Welcome back, everyone. Okay, so today we are going to do a tautology. All right. So we're given the current statement, not of not P and Q or Q, and we ask, is the statement a tautology? Okay. Right. So the first thing is to set out your values. All right. So you have P. Then not P, you have to separate each variable. Okay, yes. Then we have Q, and we don't put not Q because it's not here, right? Then we have not P and Q. And then you have not of not P and Q. And then finally, we have not P and Q or Q. Okay? Notice how we separated each element from the statement. We knew if you have not P, you have to have P. Okay, and then given that we have not P, we put it down. Do we have a Q? Yes, it's just a Q. It's not a not Q. All right. Then we took the first statement and we have it here. Then we're looking for the negation of the first statement, which is here. And finally, we have it all together at the end. Okay. So the first thing we're looking for is our values. And if you recall and you watch the truth table videos, then you would remember that the P and your Q is fixed. So your P is true and true, and then we have false, and then we have false. Okay. Then for our Q, it's true, it's false, it's true, and it's false. Okay. So then here we're looking at our not P. So not P is the opposite of P. So it'll be false, it'll be false, it'll be true, and it'll be true. Okay. So I'm gonna use the highlighter for this. So then we asked what's not P. Okay, not P. And what's Q. Now, if you remember how your conjunction table would be, then you would remember that it's only if two statements are true that the conclusion is true. So now let's go, and every other statement is false. So let's have a look. Okay, I'm just going to change colors here. So here we have false and we have true. It's a bit dark. Let me remove this. Just use yellow. So you have false and you have true. Okay. So for false and for true, it's false. Okay. Then we're looking at false, and that's false. And here we go. We have true and we have true, and therefore that's actually true. And then again here you have true, and then you have false. which of course is false. Now we're dealing with the negation of the previous statement, which just means the opposite. So it would be true, this would be false, and finally this would be true. And now we're dealing with our final statement, the conclusion. Okay, so firstly, there's two parts here. This is your first part. Hold on, give me a sec. The first part of the statement is this, okay, which of course is this right here. And the second part of our statement is Q. So we're looking at Q, right? Now then, and notice if you look closely, the sign in between is your disjunction sign, which means or. Okay, if you remember with our tables for or, everything is true except for false and false, except if the two statements are false. Okay, so let's have a look as we go through it. So here we have true, right? And for Q, it's true. So true and true.
I'm explaining.
One moment. That is true. Let me just put it in a different color. So that's actually true. And then here, if we have a look, just want to put a better color here. We have false and we have true, which means it's true. Here we have true and we have false, which means it's true. And finally we have false and we have another true, which means it's true. So if we look at the end here, just want to highlight over this, notice that for each of your 4 rows and columns everything is true. Right here for our conclusion point. Therefore, yes, this is a tautology when every statement in the end is true. Okay, thank you. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.